Core looks like this. At the center of who we are is the gospel. At the center is the truth of the gospel. Now this, we just say the gospel, but this is the richest, deepest concept we as men can ever explore. I've been studying this since I was 25, and it is still foreign country to me. The depth and exploration of what it means to experience or understand the incarnation, the atonement, the resurrection, those things are deep concepts, man. They change everything about our life. That's where we have to start. Who is Lord? Secondly, from that, we let that gospel form not a sense of self-image, but a sense of identity. Who is God and what He has done? The gospel. Who am I in light of who Jesus is and what He's done? And then outside this core is a sense of calling. What God has designed me to do. Okay? Then all these responsibilities and opportunities exist out here, whether it's work, or family, or community. I mean, you fill them in, you put your own in there. Church, work. I've got them all, huh? Work. Recreation. Society. You can list as many as you want to list. But the point is this, that I'm never starting out here to define who I am. I'm starting here in the gospel. And rather than living from the outside in, which is the way the wicked servant was living, I live from the inside out. And that sense of identity, who I am, and what God has designed me to do, I take every responsibility and opportunity. John chapter 15 uses the metaphor of a vine. Jesus says, I'm the vine, you're the branches. Anyone who remains in me, the word abide is used. We get our English word abode from that, right? It comes from the word abode. What is an abode, man? Home. It's where you live. It's home base. It's where your roots are. It says, you make your abode, make your home in me, and you will bear much fruit. Think of it this way. Root, fruit. Right? The way we fulfill our responsibilities and embrace opportunities, that's the fruit of our life. The root of our life is the gospel. Jesus says, put your roots here. This is an agricultural metaphor. Imagine a vine growing up from the rich dirt and soil. The sap runs up through the root, into the vine, into the branches, and out and produces the fruit. System only goes one way. Sap doesn't run from the fruit to the branch. It only runs from the root to the branch. Anybody who thinks it doesn't matter which way a system goes has never lived with a septic tank. Right? You want it to go one way. So if you cut that branch off of the vine, both the fruit and the branch will shrivel and die. But if you just cut the fruit off, if this all changes, the root is still healthy and the branch is connected to the vine, there will be more fruit in the next season. That's what Jesus is trying to say. So it's this issue of where do we start? And you notice the progression. This is on your next page there. Notice the progression of this. It starts rooted in the life of Jesus. That's that first statement. Rooted in the life of Jesus. It's based on a realistic understanding of self. By realistically, I mean by what God has made true. It involves a recognition of calling, which we won't talk about today. We're going to talk about in the weeks to come. A recognition of calling based on the gospel. Who am I? What am I called to do? How do I take that to my responsibilities and opportunities? Sees responsibility as an expression of God's glory. So rather than me feeding off of my responsibilities and opportunities, people who I touch in life, those responsibilities and opportunities, they feed off of me as I feed off the gospel. And the result will be that the joy may be in you and your joy may be full. Now notice, men, over life, and what got me first started thinking about this in some ways is, I'm 62. So I'm at the beginning of a transition stage. Whether you've noticed it or not, we've handed almost all the leadership of ChangePoint off to Joel Engel and Scott Mariner and Rick Steele, right? So I don't lead really anything anymore. I'm just kind of the old man, well, younger than Keith, but I'm still the old man.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. But I'm joining Keith kind of in the role of being available to younger guys, mentoring younger guys, teaching, kind of bring what I can to the table as we hand the leadership of this organization on to younger men who will take it to places that I could never lead it. That's the transition I'm in. Well, frankly, men, there's a lot of loss in that kind of transition. You know, you're kind of used to people looking at you one way, and now when you say something in a meeting, it doesn't matter. It used to be when you said something, it was yes, sir. Now it's thanks for your input. Right? There's a lot of loss in that. Now, I think it's a right thing. It's a biblical thing. It's what God has called me to. But that transition's interesting. And you don't realize how much you tie your sense of identity into these responsibilities until you start losing these. Or these start changing. Your kids all grow. Now they got kids. Pardon me, I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. I think you put some weed in that tub. Now they got kids, and you're not disciplining children anymore. You're just loving on grandkids, and you're parenting your grown children totally differently than you were when they were younger. Everything over here changes. And so when these kind of things change, guys get confused. They wind up buying a condo in Tempe, Arizona, and going down and chasing a golf ball for the rest of their lives. What a literal, colossal waste of time. Now, I love golf, and I think there ought to be good recreation. If you want to spend time in Tempe playing golf, go to it. But do you really want to tell me that you want to spend the final season of your life chasing a golf ball? Or even chasing a fish? I don't want those things to define who I am. I want my life to mean more. All those things are good things, but so I'm lost. I don't know what I can do. These things change. This never changes. Gospel doesn't change, which means my identity doesn't change and my calling doesn't change. The only thing that changes is where I work that identity and calling out. Okay. So the fundamental questions of manhood, unchanging things are: who's my master? That's an issue of lordship. Who am I? That's an issue of identity. And what has God designed me to do? That's an issue of calling. We're not talking about vocation. We're not talking about career. We're talking about calling. What I take to any job I've got, any work, any relationship in my family. Who am I and what am I called to bring to this responsibility and opportunity? That's where we're headed in the next semester. And hopefully as you interact with one another around these things, you'll notice I've given you at the end of the session some questions for you to work through with your small group. I'm going to give you time now to do that. You've got about 25 minutes before 7:30 where you can begin. But then next week when you gather together, continue on this. And I'll also give you at the end of preparing for next week, if you get that far, you can take a look at some of the text that we'll use for next week. My apologies, I wanted to have this totally done and in a booklet form for you for the entire semester. I think maybe I chased too many fish this summer without fulfilling my calling in a different way. So I'll just, we've got 3-ring binders and we'll just provide this stuff for you a week or two ahead of time. Okay? Any questions or anything at this point from any of you? Comments about anything we've had to say this morning? Okay, I'm done. That's all I got.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for your input.
So guys, we don't actually have an official closing, we'll try to, honor your time, if we need to be out of here by 7:30, do so, so it's small group time. Until then, if you would like to leave these here, if you don't want to carry them back and forth and you know that you're going to meet here, I'll keep them for you. So just pull that, probably that cover sheet out and put your sticker on it when you're done, or write your name on that and leave them on the table, then I'll have it here each week when we meet. Okay?
Thank you.
You know, this is kind of like having those cubbies in kindergarten where you can
It's just like
this kind of leave stuff, right? we never grow up, do we, guys?
I guess that is Thanksgiving.
Roger, you gotta have a notebook. You gotta have a binder.
Can I get you one? Can I get you one? Sure, I'll get you one.
Is there an extra one around? Okay,
Here's mind if I just
Dive in, man.
Okay, someone once said that there's 3 kinds of responsibility. Main series of life. Good idea. David, the floor.
Any information on the
Well, yeah.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Well, phone number.
was here last week at this table,
Yeah, but I think it's
Definitely reflected on